It's been a while, right? Hey, listen, let me preface this by saying that I understand the world doesn't revolve around me. These companies, these executives, these gaming industry that we pay attention to, none of it revolves around me, my desires, or the way that I like to do things. I'm not saying that the way that I like things to be done is the correct way or that it is better or worse than any other one's suggestion. I'm just saying this is my opinion. At this point, I'm fed up with the whole thing. I hope that we never have another showcase again. I am I am so exhausted by showcase rumors. I'm so exhausted by rumor of this or rumor of that. Oh, is Halo going to be announced today for the PlayStation 5? Oh, is Starfield going to be announced today for the PlayStation 5? Oh, is Gears ED going to? I'm like, bro, like, what kind of like short attention span as world do we live in where people need constant stimuli? I don't understand it. A lot of those people have Game of the Year contending, Game of the Year winning, Game of the Year games, sometimes Game of the Generation contending games in their backlogs, sitting pretty. I know because I'm one of them. I've got about Baldur's Gate 3 in my backlog, and it's just sitting there looking at me with the side eye. But I'm not the only one. The thing is though, I don't need I don't need a just this constant stimuli. Like I just hear PlayStation fans crying every single time about another showcase, and it's like, bro, you're an adult. You're an adult. I hope they never give you one. Honestly, yeah, I'll take the L. Like I enjoy showcases too, I do, but the time in between is so painful. It is so painful to just go week after week. You just see 30 and 40-year-olds whining about the lack of a showcase, and you're just like, bro, they don't owe you shit. Like they don't owe you a show. You pay for the game, you don't pay for the showcase. Bro, it's like, and then people are like, oh, but then I don't know what's gonna happen in the generation. I don't know, man. Like, is this like your security blanket? I don't get it. I don't get it. And I know what I'm saying is controversial because many people enjoy showcase. I understand the advantages. I understand like it's cool to be able to have some kind of hype or excitement for what's coming up next. But it's cool to have, right? It just shouldn't be demanded. Like, it's just like the same thing when like a 7-year-old kid, asks for ice cream versus that same 7-year-old demanding ice cream. One of them is like, yeah, at school, I understand your desire. Shit, I want ice cream. Let's go get it. The other one is tedious. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to the point where you just say, no, no more ice cream. You're not gonna have ice cream until you turn 8. And the kid turned 7 11 days ago. But you're just like, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore because it's just you're insufferable. A lot of these, I'm sorry, PlayStation fans, but you guys are insufferable. You are insufferable with these showcase things. And then because you don't get a showcase, you then latch onto each and every rumor. I have seen PlayStation fans are the worst winners. They are the sorriest winners. They are the sorriest even winners in gaming. I can't believe, like, I don't understand which sport you'd have to be in, or which Formula One team, or just which particular team of anything, whether that's like Android versus iOS, whether that's PC versus Mac, whether that is, I don't know, PS5 versus Xbox, Samsung versus Apple. I don't understand how you are winning by every metric, and yet you're the most miserable people on the timeline. You're whining more than the Xbox guys, and they had a terrible January. Can we take the time to appreciate how rough of a January, January. Yo, the last 30 days as an Xbox fan have been what must have been insufferable, right? The fact that you had the betrayal of Forza Horizon going to the PlayStation 5 announced, you had an amazing showcase, in the developer direct, but then they put the PS5 logo right there during the show, showing you that you're nothing. And then on top of that, Microsoft tells you that hey, 66% of the revenue during one of the biggest, periods of sales came from PlayStation. 66%, no, 64%, but basically 2/3, okay, approximately 2/3 of the Microsoft's revenue came from the PlayStation platform exclusively, more than Xbox and PC combined. 2/3 of the market. They are a PlayStation developer now. That's what they are. They're a PlayStation game provider. They're a PlayStation game provider who happen to make Xbox games as well. That's it. Like that. Like the definition is third party. But what I want you to understand is that it's more than just third party. Is that they're a PlayStation developer. And yes, most third party developers fall in the same category because for a lot of them, PlayStation is the main platform. But the thing is, none of those other ones have a platform like that of Xbox. So the fact that Xbox has approximately 2/3 of their business coming from the competition's platform, that makes it their platform now. If you are an Xbox refugee, you are a refugee at home. And yet, with all of that reality and so much more, like the Phil Spencer interviews, the way that he wouldn't, promise to people that Starfield will remain exclusive, the way he keeps saying no red lines, the way that he's like, yeah, everything's going over. Boy, it was rough. Even as a PlayStation fan, I was like, oof, man, may this never be me. But even with all of that, you know who is whining more? PlayStation fans. How? Now I understand. In the last few days, we had the PlayStation Network outage. Lasted about 24 hours. People were pissed, rightfully so. Sony did a little bit to compensate. I think they should do more. And I know that a lot of the PlayStation fans came out in defense of Sony, saying that, they had charts. PlayStation fans always have charts, Jesus, you can never call them uncharted because they always got charts. They were showing that Steam and Xbox they have way more downtime in the US, and very official, beautiful looking chart. Here's the thing, doesn't matter. Sony is forcing, for a lot of people it is forcing. For me, I actually like PlayStation Plus mostly for the free games every month. I hardly ever play multiplayer games because there are not that many multiplayer games I connect with. The multiplayer game that I've been playing the most recently is actually Returnal, playing it online co-op. So that kind of just tells you kind of the lane that I particularly fall in. So I like the essential games. That's my reason. But for most people, it is Sony forcing them to pay for network access, in order to pay to play over the internet on premium games. So when the network is down, especially when part of that outage means that people cannot play the single player game because they haven't renewed licenses recently, or they haven't checked a particular setting, or whatever the hell it was. No, that's a problem. That should not be excused in any way. Even if you can excuse it, you should grill the company long enough that they do something about it and then they recompensate you for it. And then you can come out and be like, I guess it wasn't that bad. Because these companies aren't our friends. If you don't pay PlayStation, they're not going to make an excuse for you. They're going to cut your service. So when you give them money, you shouldn't make an excuse for them. You should hold their hand to the fire. I personally, just full disclosure, I wasn't affected by the outage this time around. I haven't been playing multiplayer games for one, and then for two, that particular 24-hour period, I wasn't actually on my PlayStation. I wasn't playing at all. So I don't know what the experience of it was like. So when I see PlayStation add 5 extra days to everybody's PlayStation Plus subscription and everything like that, I honestly don't know if that is fair compensation, for the amount of anguish and angst that people felt, and the amount of, trouble that they went through. Because, if it's a Friday night and you come home and you've been looking forward to playing a particular game, and for whatever reason, it doesn't matter what it is, but it is PlayStation's fault that you cannot have that gaming experience, I don't know if 5 days of extra PlayStation Plus will compensate you for that. Honestly, I feel like they should refund the entire month. I think that would be right. So instead of 5 days, add 30 days. I think that makes more sense to me But then again, I don't know if that's simply me kind of like, imagining that it was worse than it was. Because man, on the Twitters, people were acting like it's Armageddon, Jesus Christ. But even then, PlayStation fans whine. They whine so much about the showcase that I wish it doesn't happen anymore. Just so we could get away from this. I feel like we need to reset what these expectations are. You are not game announcement players or game announcement watchers. You're not, and it's insufferable. And listen, I understand that Xbox has showcases, and I appreciate the Xbox showcases. I really, really do. As a gaming fan in general, as an Xbox fan for one, because yes, I am a fan of the Xbox. I like it. It's just I don't like the company behind it. But also, mostly as a PlayStation fan, since they are now a third party publisher, so it just gives me more reason to watch. I will look forward to each and every one of them, and I will enjoy them, especially because Microsoft, through the years of ineptitude that they were able to put forward at these showcases, has finally, it seems perhaps accidentally, but let's just be generous and let's say intentionally, they finally hit their stride with the showcases. The developer direct was a 10 out of 10 from a showcase perspective. Great amount of gameplay, exciting games, great content, potential game of the year candidates for many people. If it was like a 2021 year, you could almost guarantee that they will have at least 2 titles in the game of the year nomination. 2025 is a heavier year. We have, GTA 6 incoming, we have Ghost of Yote. Will those Microsoft games make it all the way to the game of the year? Yes, probably 1 or 2 of them will make it. So that just shows you the quality that they've been able to put forward, and the presentation have been amazing. I appreciate their showcase. I would appreciate equally, or perhaps even more so, a PlayStation showcase. I too am curious about what Insomniac has been doing. I too am curious about what Ghost of Yote plays like. I too am curious about where Wolverine might be up to. What has Santa Monica been up to? But let me show you what's on screen over here. The genesis of this entire discussion. Over here, we see new God of War is reportedly not heading to Egypt after all, but is set in Greece with a young Kratos. And you see how they say is not heading to Egypt after all? That's because last week that was the rumor. See how they say a hashtag rumor? This is it. The last week, everybody on the timeline was talking about Egypt. Now everybody's going to be talking about Greece. Then I said, okay, next week, new God of War is set in space. Just like, can we just put it down with the baseless rumors? Just go play the games you already own. Like, you're a gamer. Go play games. Go talk about the games you've played. Go talk about the games you have concrete information on and you're looking forward to. Talk about South of Midnight. Talk about Ghost of Yote. Talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Talk about games that have already delivered you a good amount of, of an inkling at least. Why are we caring about games that, as far as we are concerned, for all intents and purposes, they don't exist to us? Why are we concerned about these things? And I'm telling you, man, it's been months. It's been months. And there's obviously people with like the showcase tracker, and they'll tell you like, oh my God, PlayStation hasn't had the showcase in like 20 months or 24 months or, boy, who the fuck cares? Last year, they gave you a game of the year winning game, and only like 2 million of you bought it. But that Astrobot game was shown to you and then delivered to you within the span of 4 months, and it was game of the year winning. I honestly hope that PlayStation just goes that way all the time. I really do. I don't think that PlayStation fans deserve showcases. You guys are toxic, man. You're toxic as fuck. Then they'll show you the game, and then you start, the whole. Listen, this isn't from the PlayStation fan, but the developers behind it, I'm betting it doesn't feel too different. So before a showcase, they've had months and months of people bitching and whining about the lack of a showcase. Cool. Then there is a show, whether that's a state of play or a showcase or a one-off thing, it doesn't matter. They show their game. And then you have the new crowd. Okay, I know this is a new PlayStation fan, so you don't have to pick up the slack for this. But then you have the new crowd. And this crowd is You know, first of all, there's the anti-DI, the anti-wokeness, the anti-this and the anti-that. Oh my God. These people are the most delusional fucking assholes on the planet. Okay? And then they have that shit to deal with. But then they have the Xbox fans, you know, that will be trying to like tear the game apart. Oh my God, Ghost of Yote is not going to be as good as Hi-Fi Rush. You know, just bullshit, you know, just like whatever. And then finally, a small sliver, you know, but an increasingly, you know, kind of like incessant one as well. Now it's the PlayStation fans bitching yet again that you didn't show enough. Oh, when am I going to see this next? Oh, when am I going to get this next? Oh, when am I going to do this? I kind of, now shut the fuck up. I kind of just wish that they give you the, what is it? The Astrobot, you know, treatment. Just show this shit once when they are within 4 months. Like I used to say within 18 months, but bro, if I'm Herman Holtz and I'm trying to protect my developers from this incessant fury that fanboys have, you know, this level of entitlement is very similar to the ones that like South Korean fans often have with like K-pop artists, where it's like now you're getting dangerous. Now you're doing things that are going way beyond the pale. And it's just like it's toxic, it's harmful to the community, it's harmful to the creative process, it's harmful to the fan base and the fandom of the product, it's harmful to the actual creators of that product. Like, do you remember when God of War Ragnarok was announced and then they held back the release date? They didn't hold it back as in they pushed it back necessarily. I mean, they did that one time, but they pretty much kept it close to the chest what the final release date would be. And then these people were pestered all over the internet, especially on the Twitters. Like, hey, why have you delayed this game? And you had community managers come out. We didn't delay the game. It's coming out on time. Then I think even at some point, Corey Barlog was like, the game isn't fucking delayed, bro. And they still wouldn't believe him. And a lot of them were PlayStation fans. Like, you guys are becoming some kind of like twisted, fucked up version of yourself. You're letting your fandom just give you this huge sense of entitlement. That's just ruining it. You're just ruining the fun. Like, do you remember when you were kids and you would just see the game announced like a magazine or something? And I'm not saying that those magazine announcements were like, you know, necessarily just a week before and then the game came out. But the point is, you were surprised and you enjoyed the information that you got, and your curiosity was tempered, or it was like excited. It was a positive curiosity. Yes, you will always want to see more. Yes, obviously, that's a good thing. You're a fan of gaming. No one's trying to take that away from you. But do you not see that your very fandom has become toxic? Do you not see that it's become just completely untethered from reality or any kind of constraints that makes it okay? It's to the point where you are just like the little 7-year-old that keeps insisting about ice cream, to the point where you have to be chastised, to the point where it has to be taken off the menu. It's fucking annoying. And this is me talking as a person that doesn't actually have to be in the direct pathway of all of this animosity. I'm just watching from the sideline. But it's intolerable for me. I don't even understand. This is, you know, a lot of people say, oh, PlayStation developers, PlayStation studio heads, PlayStation producers, PlayStation executives, you know, they should get in front of the community more often. You know, do more interviews. You know, do more YouTube. You know, more transparency. Basically, give us more access to you. Okay, you viewer, person viewing this video right now, you. Tell me, would you let your child stand in front of the PlayStation fan base with this level of animosity, of toxicity? Would you put them out there? Especially if they were working on something that can change at any point. Imagine that. Imagine if Bluepoint or Sucker Punch had been more transparent about the game they were working on. They're showing you concepts, ideas, things that sound good, obviously. Obviously, they have to sound good, sound great even, sound perfect, excellent. And then they show you these concepts. Even if they try to like obfuscate exactly how it's going to work, they could be like, oh, you know, we have an idea that, you know, when you jump and you do this particular thing, you can swing from a tree like Tarzan. Okay, cool. Whatever. It could be generic as hell. And then the PlayStation fanbase finds out that that game got canned. Like, I've heard people say that. I've heard people literally say, I wanted to know what these games were. So you could do what with it, man? So what? What were you gonna do? You're gonna replicate it? You're gonna go into like Microsoft, like, I don't know, fucking Clipchamp and build it from the ground up? You're gonna animate it yourself? You're gonna release it yourself? What were you gonna do with that information, bro? You think you're angry now when these are just titles that were rumored and were never shown to you? Imagine if you got to see the parts that worked, because no one's going to show you the parts that don't work. They're going to show you a bunch of parts that work. You're going to get over and excited. And then you're going to understand that it was canceled because you didn't get to see the 100% of it. You didn't get to understand the whole decision. You will be more pissed off, not less. PlayStation fans, you just, blah. It's part of the reason I haven't made a video in a while, because I'm just like, man, this community is becoming more and more toxic. And not just like Xbox toxic or like PC toxic. Like, no, there's this like, you know how they say drain the swamp or whatever? There is a swamp in the middle of our fandom. I'm talking purely PlayStation fans. I'm not talking about like Xbox fans that pretend to be PlayStation fans because they own a PlayStation 5. I'm not talking about people who, you know, like to pretend they're neutral and they like to play both sides. Nah, I'm talking about purely PlayStation fans. You're the entitled little fucks. And you're getting annoying with it, bro. So I don't think you deserve another showcase. I'm okay. I'm okay. Like, yes, I'm okay suffering with you. Like, at the end of the day, we're all in the same boat, right? So it's like, if we don't get to go to the island where we got to see the whales because you guys have been, you know, just disrespecting the staff, then the boat is beached and I don't get to see the wealth either. But I'd rather stay in that boat because you don't deserve to be rewarded. Now, all that being said, I understand that's just my opinion. And I understand that Sony has its own objectives and they need to market the games in order for people to buy them. So there will be another showcase at some point. There will be another state of play. Oh my God, talking about the state of play, dude. Now the rumor is February 13. Remember that? Remember the state of play? They were supposed to happen like last week of January. There was our first week of February. Now it's February 13. If February 14 comes around and it hasn't happened, then it'll be February 21st. Then if that doesn't happen, it'll be, March. If March doesn't happen, it'll be April. If April doesn't happen, it'll be like, well, obviously that's everything for June. Oh my God, it's insufferable. It's insufferable. I should never become a PlayStation executive because I just do things out of spite. Just to prove to you that I can. Just to prove to you that my business can still work and I don't need you guys to be blowing on my ear about things that I don't have to deliver to you. Like, you bought a PlayStation, you got a PlayStation. That was the deal. The deal is renewed for every single game and every single title, every single time that you see it. Okay? They don't owe you first party games. I'm sorry, they don't owe you first party games. The PlayStation 1 wasn't sold on first party games. The PlayStation 2 wasn't sold on first party games. The PlayStation 3 wasn't sold on first party games. It's only in the PlayStation 4 that first party games even started being a serious part of the conversation. But even then, you bought the console, bro. That was the deal. You bought the console. If you bought a PlayStation 5 thinking that, somehow you're supposed to get like, I don't know, 5 first party games every year, listen, I would like that just as much as you. Okay? But that wasn't the deal. The deal was you bought the console and that console will have access to these games and they showed you the games already offering you. So when you signed the contract for the console, when you made your agreement with Sony, that didn't include phantom games that are to nebulously appear sometime in the future. You bought it on that day based on the value proposition that they promised you on that day. And for the most part, they have delivered. Now, you can say games like Little Devil Inside, they showed that to you. They should deliver that to you. I agree with you. That would be cool. But to think that somehow, like every studio, every single generation owes you like 3 to 4 first party games, like it's your right, it's a sense of entitlement, bro. It's a sense of entitlement. Just like if you buy the iPhone, I don't know, 17, when it is released, And then later in the iPhone 18, they come out with a brand new, actually useful this time, AI feature. If you're on the iPhone 18, that's the promise. So they should deliver that to you. But when you're on the iPhone 17, your promise didn't include that feature necessarily. Even if your phone can run it, they don't have to. They should. It's good customer, like, you know, I guess friendliness, will just, for lack of a better term. But it's not promised to you. Just like when the PlayStation in 2020 is released, and let's say you bought it in 2020 or in 2021, and you bought it off of the first or the second showcase, and that was it. That was kind of the agreement, bro. If you got those games, that's where the agreement ended. Everything where you guys are just demanding all future games to ever come in the history of the planet from all these first party studios, it's like, no, I don't agree. I think that's entitlement. Okay? Now listen. Do I want to talk about this right now? Yeah, sure. I want to talk about this. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about exclusivity. It's funny because I just got talking about how you're not owed exclusives, but exclusivity matters, right? So we're going to just listen to a clip by Reforge Gaming. I hope that it's okay that I use it because he put it on Twitter himself, so I suppose it should be fair game. We're just gonna listen to the clip and then we're gonna see. Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna turn the volume down a little bit. I hope that will be okay. And yeah, let's have a look see.
I told you last year when all this started.
Oh, by the way, people talk a little bit slow, so I'm just gonna, just push it up by like 1.25. No biggie. Just gonna put that up there. Go ahead.
I said the next thing they're gonna do is they're gonna demonize exclusives. Phil Spencer's going to blow the dog whistle, and he's going to get all his little podcasters and YouTubers to fall in line. The question you should be asking is not, what's PlayStation going to do? The question you should be asking is, why does every single pro Xbox YouTuber, outlet, media press source, journalist, whatever you want to call them, why do they all just get in line with what Xbox and Microsoft is doing and spin it as a positive, or posture as if it's fine and good? Or
okay, let's take a pause there. And then listen to these guys over here.
Another thing too, a lot of the, I think a lot of the people that you've been talking about, like the fanboys online going, going crazy online, like angry about this type of content going on to other consoles. Look, at the end of the day, business is changing. That's why I feel like it is important for us to have these conversations. And even go back in history too, because this is not the first time that Xbox has done this. I remember in the early days of the Nintendo DS, there was a port. Was it a port or a game that it was rare that worked on Viva Pinata and it came out for the DS? Where was their outcry from back in those days?
Wasn't there a Blue Dragon on DS too?
I think it was also Blue Dragon.
So this is exactly what Reforge was talking about, right? You have these Xbox personalities over here, people that there are so many receipts. If I was more dedicated to Twitter, like a J-Dub, a Jazz, even a Podorock, I could pull out so many receipts of at least Ryan McCaffrey up there, and a little bit even I've seen from Danny Penna talking about how exclusives are the best thing, especially when Microsoft bought Bethesda. The progression has been tremendous to see, because at a certain point, exclusives were bad, right? Especially like around 2020 when PlayStation had exclusives, and then Xbox didn't. Then they bought Bethesda and exclusives were great again. Then, their exclusives were shite. And so exclusives are now bad again. And then finally, they lost all exclusives. So now exclusives are demonized. Boy, I said this. The fact that we're still arguing over exclusivity is real proof that our industry journalism is bought and paid for. And what you see here is proof of that, by the way, because this Ryan McCaffrey, he's a big personality and he's bought and paid for. Okay? Go back to the Bethesda acquisition and earlier. Every one of these pundits knew and desired exclusives. Now they're bad because Xbox. Blah. Because it's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's just blah. It's vomit. That what these people are saying.
Claim that's where the industry's going. Where's the integrity? Where
Oh, by the way, I realized I didn't switch screens before. Sorry about that. It's fine.
is it? They all just got in line. It's just astroturfing. It's all it is. You now have press outlets and people like, oh, I'm going to do all this investigation. I'm going to base things off truth. And you got your YouTubers and your podcasters. You got all of them just getting in line. It's like they've been given talking points. You should be asking that question. Why are none of them throwing their hands up and saying, this isn't what I wanted, this is stupid, this is bad? No, they're all doing the same thing.
Can I just say, I fully agree with this one. You know, Reforge, as a content provider, he does his best to be basing his opinion on the facts that he sees in front of him. Okay? Sometimes I disagree with his final interpretation or his final analysis, but much like many of the people that I respect in the gaming, you know, conversation space, he does his best to start from the facts and then move forward from there. You know, you don't always agree with where he's moved to or the direction. You might think, oh, actually, this way is a little bit better than that way. But for the most part, that's what he tries to do. And regardless of how you feel about his general opinions, you cannot disagree with this particular part, man. When you see what you just saw before, where these Xbox influencers are going all the way back to like 2008 for like an obscure one-time reference, you're just like, bro, can we just talk about today and the fact that this is not okay? Then you can go back, right? Say this isn't okay. Then you can go back and you can tell us about the historical perspective. That will be fine. But when you're trying to use that historical precedent, that was like a really tiny minor thing as justification for this huge bombshell, that's crazy. That's like the equivalent of a person, you know, like, you know, when it comes to geopolitical tensions, when they're like, oh, you know, this dictator committed a genocide of 300,000 people. And then the person's like, yes, but did you know, like in 1300 BCE, one village was burned by that population that just recently, you know, got murked off the planet of the Earth. And that village contained 3 people that were killed all the way back then. It's like, okay, the historical perspective can be used as analysis, as perspective, but when you're trying to use that to justify the modern day atrocity, maybe it's not the right call. And I feel like that's exactly what these Xbox podcasters were doing over here. You know, we're just going to switch back and forth between these trees because they just go hand in hand.
And also, Bungie was working on a Halo game for the DS too, and it never came out. You know, so at the end,
they even use an example that didn't materialize. Can you see the delusion? Can you see the amount of wow? How do you use an example of something that didn't work to be like, yeah, Microsoft did try this, then they decided not to, but it just shows you that it's always been this way. The industry isn't changing. It's just returning back to what it used to be.
At the end of the day,
Crazy.
business has changed. We have to get used to this. It's going to happen. And if it's successful for Xbox, don't be surprised if PlayStation is going to do the same thing in the future. Because at the end of the day,
can I just say, Much, you know, shout out to Much. Much always says you should not speak in absolutes on the internet. I will say this. I absolutely do not see the business sense in PlayStation putting their games on Xbox or even the Nintendo Switch. In fact, the more time has gone on, as a person that was not against the move to PlayStation PC thing, I wasn't against it. I'm starting to see very little business sense for that particular venture, and that one is far less problematic than putting it on Xbox or something. So I'm gonna say this: Xbox executives will have to be absolutely monumentally stupid to put their games on PlayStation or Nintendo. Even including, yes, Lego Horizon. Okay, listen, Lego Horizon did nothing, and I hope that it showed them that, hey, this really isn't worth it. But if they put Lego Horizon on the Switch and it did nothing, and are going to put more games on the Switch, I just think that is incredibly dumb. And there will be a point, first of all, if PlayStation puts their games on Xbox, I'm not buying a PlayStation anymore. Because that just shows to me that you don't value your console. And if you don't value your console, then the PC is inevitable. So I wouldn't stand for it. I wouldn't be here in, you know, in the future generations. If they put it on the Switch, same thing. Because again, if you're going to put it on other platforms, it means you don't value your own, and it's a giant FU to the person that bought your box. So that's what I had to say. And it would be stupid to do that. They will have to understand that. They're smarter, or they're supposed to be smarter than you and I. We'll see.
All these companies want money. It's all about the money in business, you know. So,
but it's precisely, Danny, because it's about the money that they won't do it. This is the problem, like the stupidest arguments. It's precisely because PlayStation is a marketplace. Just think about it as like, I don't know, a fucking 7-Eleven. Think about if 7-Eleven has the slushy, or it has the partnership with Crispy Donuts, or it has whatever else that is exclusive to them. And they can bring you into that store with these 2 or 3 items, right? These are things that make you choose them over other petrol stations or other convenience stores. They're exclusively here. And then as part of that experience, you can then choose to decide to partake in further shopping for things that are commonly available everywhere. So they only have 5 or 6 products that are unique to them. Why would they take those products that are unique and then make them commonplace like every other product? Why would you then keep choosing? And the thing is, 7-Eleven doesn't make money when you shop somewhere else. PlayStation doesn't make money when you shop or anywhere other than PlayStation. When you shop on PC and you know, even PlayStation games is part of Steam, you are enriching the Steam marketplace. Yes, they get a 70% cutback on that, but it is a give and take. It is a push and trade. And as we have seen, considering the amount of like pirates and downloads and the complexity of taking certain PlayStation 5 games all the way to PC, I think that the return on investment has been abysmal. As far as the PlayStation fan perspective, it's done nothing. It has done nothing but be a huge detriment to the PlayStation gamer, because now you have extra resources tied up in taking things to PC. It's not right. It's not right. From a business perspective, it is only Sony that can analyze what the push and take is, but there is a downside. It's not free money. It has a cost. And you now have a participant, a long-term 20-year veteran participant that was going back and forth with you in the console space. Why would you do anything to potentially help them stay here when they are literally on the way out the door? Why? You wouldn't. Matter of fact, you would crush them even more. That's what I would do. Because it's not games, it's business. Like, I hate the fact that they say the right things, but then the conclusion that it's just so diluted that I believe you have to be paid for it. I really do. And of course, someone is always calling me. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know what? That there is probably a sign from the universe that I should just let this video end. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to let this video end because at the end of the day, it is frustrating. By the way, so if you can hear the vibrations there, it's probably not your phone. Unless it is your phone, in which case you should probably pick it up. But it's probably not your phone because I imagine that your phone will be in your hands or something like that. So anyways, that's all I had to say on these particular topics. So I'm going to go. I'm going to attend to that phone call because at the end of the day, we are all living and we have to like make money and things. And, you know, that's a potential money-making avenue. So we should try to do that over here at Emmanuel Incorporated. In summary, PlayStation fans are entitled as fuck. Xbox and gaming journalists in general are, what are we even say? Deluded. They're paid for. They're for sale. They're for the streets. They're little halls that Phil Spencer can just buy with a smile and a few words, or, you know, whatever goes on behind the scenes with these gaming journalists, but they have no backbone and they're spineless. And the PlayStation fan base is becoming toxic in its own way, and it needs to stop. And if it doesn't stop, then we don't deserve nice things. All right, cool message. That's a nice video to come back to. No one's going to be mad about it, and everyone's going to agree with me.